Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. We got a great show for you today, and if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in at 323-870-3857, and we'll be here till 9 o'clock tonight. And today, we're going to talk about the big fight next week. Canelo Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev is a week away. We'll give you our predictions and break down the fight for you. Oscar De La Hoya lands himself in our train wreck of the week. He's in trouble again. Beeb, what's up with this guy?
This guy is, he's a walking sideshow. What can I tell you?
Straight deviant, boy. Straight deviant. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, man? But first, we're going to get started with DAZN, the World Boxing Super Series, man. The final. Man, I tell you what, we've looked forward to this all week. Ever since this thing has been announced, we were talking about it. We were, thinking about who's going to be in the finals, and I think everybody expected these two to be in the finals. We thought it was going to be a great fight, and man, it turned out to be a great fight. Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograis. Josh Taylor wins a majority decision over Regis Prograis by the scores of 114, 114. 117, 112, and 115, 113. I had the fight scored 116, 112 for Taylor. The fight lived up to the hype, man. Again, man, we waited for a long time. It delivered. Both fighters did a great job, but I tell you, for me, Josh Taylor just seemed to be bigger and stronger. That guy is huge at 140, and he seems very strong at 140. I kind of wonder how long he can actually stay there, being as big as he is and everything like that. I mean, because I think it's just a matter of time before he has to move up in weight. I mean, hopefully he can stay there for a while. There's a lot of good fights for him, but yeah, I mean, he's a big guy for that weight, man. He landed the heavier shots throughout the fight, I thought. One of the things I noticed, and I wish DAZN did a better job in the corners for this. A lot of times on like Showtime does, I think, the best job of going into the corners so you can hear what they're saying and the instruction and everything like that. One of the things I noticed during the fight was that Prograis constantly dropped his left hand in close. I mean, they were both fighting in close, but he would constantly drop his left hand. He would pull out, and not necessarily on an angle, but just to give space to punch. When he pulls out, his left hand is down. And he got hit with that right hand by Taylor all night. I mean, all night. He made an adjustment and started moving to his right later on, but he was still taking those right hands because his hands was down. They just weren't as flush, I don't believe, because of his movement. I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was a good win for Taylor. I would love to see a rematch, man, but I'll be honest, man, I'm not sure we will. After the fight, they weren't talking, or at least Taylor wasn't talking about a rematch, so I don't know. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this? Break down this fight.
Well, I saw it a little differently than you, but more people saw it your way than saw it my way. I had Prograis edging this out 115 to 113. I thought he got off to a good start. I thought that there were some tight rounds in there, but in the beginning of the fight, I saw him moving very well, landing the jab, rifling it right through the guard of Warrington. And when you want to talk about a jab, is it worth more than a power punch? In some instances, it is, in my opinion. If you're landing a jab solid and you're snapping a guy's head back, and you're really getting his attention, which I thought some of those Prograis jabs were doing to Taylor. I thought they were really snapping jabs. And I thought that Prograis was moving his head very well. He's very good defensively early on. But after the fifth round, you could see a little bit of a shift there. You could see, from the sixth round to possibly the 10th round, I thought Taylor went on a really good run. And he kind of was being backed up early, but then he just said to himself, you know what? I'm going to get a little bit more active with my jab. I'm going to be a little more assertive to get inside on this guy, and I think I can use my strength on the inside, and I think I could punch with him on the inside and go blow for blow with him, and I'm going to start dropping to the body too. So he started almost beating Prograis at his own game on the inside. I think early on he tried to fight on the outside a little bit, but Prograis was a little bit too slick. He got a little bit too cute for him on the outside, like moving with his upper body, kind of making himself a compact target, throwing jabs quick. And Prograis did a great job at moving his jab around, throwing his jab off speed a little bit, and that's how he was able to keep Taylor occupied. Because a lot of times people think a jab is just an offensive weapon, but you know, Prograis uses that jab very intelligently because he uses it as a blinder, as a punch to get a reaction out of his opponent. Because when you're trying to parry a jab or you're trying to block a punch, you can't punch back yourself. So if you can keep your opponent off guard, not having to land the punch perfectly, but just touch the guy, and that's what Prograis was doing. Hit him in the chest, hit him in the shoulder, hit him in the face when he had to. And I think because he was so busy with his jab, I thought Taylor had a hard time getting off. But then Taylor said, you know what? I'm going to have to punch with this guy. Even though he's a little bit quicker than me, I'm just going to have to double and triple my jab, which he did. And one beautiful thing, I think you mentioned it as well, he started hooking off the jab. So he made a great adjustment. He just basically kind of shortened up the shots a little bit, and he said, like I said earlier, I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna fight him in the phone booth, because if a guy's quicker than you, the more space you give him to go in and out on you, that's less time for you to react. So what do you do when a guy's quicker than you? It's like throwing a blanket on a fire, so that fire doesn't spread, because a fire can spread quickly. But if you put a blanket on it, which Josh Taylor did, put a blanket on Prograis by going on the inside, I'm going to take some of that, try to smother that speed and take some of that speed away from this guy and not allow him to move. If I stay close to him, he can't move away. And if he tries to get out the back door, that's where my little right hook will come in and push him right back into the punching range or right into the center. So Josh Taylor made some great adjustments in this fight. And that's what you expect from a world champion. So he proved he was definitely a top-level world champion last night. And so did Prograis, because Prograis, I thought, came back in the 11th and the 12th. A lot of people didn't give him the 11th. I gave him the 11th and the 12th, but I think just about everyone gave Prograis the 12th. I think Prograis finished pretty strong in that 12th round. But it's, on the judges' scorecards, it still wasn't enough, because I think Taylor went on that little run. And the fourth, a lot of people had those first 4 rounds split. Most people, I could have saw it like maybe 3-1, but a lot of people had that. A lot of people had it split.
I had it 2-2. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people had it 2-2. Boxing Scene, I think, had it 2-2 as well. So, if you give Taylor those 2 early rounds, and then you give him 6 through 10, or 6 through 11, then, he's already got that. He's got it. So the way I saw it, it could have been 115 or 113 either way, or even possibly a draw. I know a lot of people even had it a draw. But more people had Taylor winning. I really didn't hear too many people that had Prograis winning. They either had Taylor close or they had it a draw. But not too many people had Prograis winning. D-Style and myself, we did a live cast. We both had Prograis winning 115 and 113. But again, we were in the minority.
Well, the great thing is it's all subjective. I mean, it really is. And you know what? You brought up the point that everybody gave Prograis the 12th round. The judge that didn't give Prograis the 12th round was the 113-115 judge. Had he given Prograis the 12th round, we got a draw.
Yeah.
And we're redoing this.
Yeah.
So very close.
And I don't know. I thought that the 12th round was pretty clear for Prograis, but did the other 2 judges give Prograis a 12th? I think they did, right?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And I thought it was I thought that Prograis won the round, but I thought it was, I thought he nudged it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The 11th round, I thought that, I think I had Taylor winning the 11th round. And Taylor, when he hit him, it looked like he hurt him. It looked like he hurt him every time he hit him. He was really coming with bombs, man.
Well, here's also another thing, too, is it was mentioned in the chat, and I thought this was quite interesting. They had a 4th judge. Did you see that?
I just saw that. Is that accurate? I didn't see that.
No, because you could see it, because if you Google it, if you Google the Taylor Prograis scorecards, they'll show you 4 judges. And
Who did the 4th judge have?
He had Taylor 116 and 112 too.
Okay, so the 4th judge had him. Okay, so that didn't matter. Yeah, it
didn't matter.
That's awesome. You know what? They should all do that. They should
do that.
all do that.
Just in case of a draw.
Yep, they should all do that. Eliminate draws. That's beautiful. I wasn't even aware of that. That is awesome.
Yeah, they only go to the
only
4th.
If it was scored a draw. Yeah,
only if it's scored a draw. Yeah.
I thought, Mark in the chat said Prograis power was overrated, and he thinks he was weight drained, and he put on 15 pounds. I don't think so. I mean, listen, man, Josh Taylor is a big guy.
Taylor got hurt a few times. He was holding on.
Yeah, he got buzzed a couple of times. He definitely got buzzed.
He got hit with a left hand in the 11th round that had him backing up and kind of holding on a little bit.
He felt his power, put it that way. I mean, look at his eye. I mean,
hey, listen, there's no question about it. Taylor's the stronger guy.
Yeah.
He's a stronger guy. Does he hit harder? You could say so, but that's debatable. But the thing is,
it's all up for debate. Yeah.
But the thing is, on the inside, when he's putting on that pressure and imposing his will and kind of nudging and leaning and roughing up, you could tell he's definitely the physically stronger man. I don't think we can.
Yeah.
Can't question that. And a lot of times we say that what does it matter? It's not a bench pressing contest. But again, when you're jockeying for position on the inside, being strong and physical, being able to nudge and maneuver and knock your guy off balance and knock him off his square, that makes all the difference in the world sometimes. And it did last night.
Well, and two, I mean, when you're wrestling and stuff like that, I mean, you're wrestling in the corner, you're wrestling, you're on the ropes, you're grabbing each other, you're carrying his weight too.
100%.
You're carrying his weight too, and it gets tiring. It's more tiring to wrestle. I believe it's more tiring to wrestle than it is to box.
100%.
100%, right? I mean, because you're using more muscles wrestling.
I agree.
And it tires you out, especially if you got to carry his weight too. The guy's a bigger guy, stronger guy. Yeah, it's not. It's not that easy, man.
It's not a walk in the park, man.
No, not by any stretch, man.
Not a walk in the park, I don't think.
Not by any stretch. So, where does Josh Taylor go from here?
Probably Ramirez, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the name he mentioned.
That's it.
Let me bring that up here.
Because you got both guys who are willing to fight each other. I don't think Ramirez would have a problem fighting Taylor, and Taylor called him out last night. So
yeah,
and I don't think Bob Arum would have a hard time or be concerned about putting Ramirez in there with Taylor either.
I think Josh Taylor smashes him. I really do. I think Josh Taylor.
It's funny. D-Star likes Ramirez in that fight. I like Josh Taylor in that fight.
Josh Taylor by a mile in that fight. Son.
I think Prograis would beat Ramirez.
Yeah. Prograis is the second. He's got to be the second best 140 in the world.
Yeah, I mean this is 1 and 2 last night.
It absolutely was.
And Ramirez is number 3. I'm not going to say he's a distant number 3, but he's number 3 clearly in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, what about this tournament? And as we wind down on this tournament, we got one in a couple of weeks here. The final in a couple of weeks. We just had the 140 final last night. I mean, this tournament is awesome. I really think this is the best thing for boxing. I think it's one of the best things in boxing today.
Well, let me just say this, and I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly. This tournament is good when you have fighters like Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis.
Yes.
That cruiserweight tournament wasn't the greatest. After the one, not talking about the one Usyk was in.
No. But they did have good matchups though. They did have matchups, and they had matchups you want to see. They had good matchups.
In fairness, they were good matchups because they kind of were evenly matched fighters.
Yeah.
So in that regard, that's a good point to make. But
they're heavyweight. They're talking about putting a heavyweight one together.
Okay, but if you're not,
and you won't have any titleist in there. It makes zero sense.
So if the champion, I guess the point I'm trying to make, let's cut to the chase here, is if the champions and the top level fighters aren't willing to be in it, then the tournament's only as good as the fighters that are in it,
Right.
who choose to participate in it. Obviously,
But you know what's great about it is they started out with they start out with divisions that aren't necessarily like cruiserweight, that aren't getting a lot of run. You know what I mean? They're not getting a lot of run in the press or anything like that. So cruiserweight, we do cruiserweight. We do the guys that are hungry, because even though they're champions, they're still not getting their due because nobody's putting them on TV. That Inoue fight. Inoue is another guy who nobody's putting on TV. Nobody cared about this division prior to. We all knew it was a stacked division. That whole 118, 126, that whole division down there is stacked. We knew about it. But the public didn't know about it. And now, hey, now it's his coming out party, you know what I mean? And the same thing here with Prograis and Josh Taylor and stuff like that. I mean, these were really good fights. Even the lead-in fights to this were just amazing.
Well, I guess another point I'm going to make is, like you said, none of the heavyweight champions will be in it. But here's another thing. When you look at the divisions that really matter in this sport, where a tournament like this would be phenomenal, 147, 147, 126, and 168. When you look at that, right?
Yeah.
None of those guys Heyman would never allow those guys to be in a tournament. Number one, Bob Arum hates tournaments. So if you tried to make one at 175, Bob Arum wouldn't allow that to happen, because Bob Arum doesn't like not being. A lot of these, not just Bob Arum. Let's be honest. A lot of these promoters who have their marquee fighters, they want to be in control of the situation. And when you just throw somebody in a tournament, you fight who you fight, whoever advances, whoever advances, you have to fight them. Wherever the date is, who's ever in charge of the tournament, they determine the date. So it's like a promoter kind of loses control of the situation by allowing his fighter to be in a tournament. And I think a lot of those promoters don't want to do that. So that's another reason why you don't see these tournaments. And I remember Bob Arum said he doesn't like tournaments because he doesn't like planning fights that far ahead. He doesn't like not knowing what's going to happen. He doesn't like the fact that people can get injured and then the tournament gets a monkey wrench thrown into it. So I think the promoters are the biggest obstacles for these tournaments.
They are, all without question. Without question, they're the biggest obstacle. And I just, like I said, I mean, it would be so great if they would just, because now we have a 140-pound kingpin. You know what I mean? We had an undisputed cruiserweight champion. We have, Inoue and Donaire are coming up in a couple of weeks, who are the best at what they do, in their division. And it's like, I wish that more divisions would do this. I wish that the sanctioning bodies would get on this.
Yeah,
I wish that it's not going to happen. I get it.
Yeah, but the promoters,
it's not a perfect world, but yeah,
it's the promoters.
It's terrible. It's terrible. They just ruined stuff. This is, back when the PBC got started, their whole thing was, I think there was rumors, and I don't know how true they were, that they were going to make a PBC belt or whatever. I don't know how true any of that was. But that was what it started out to be. They wanted to get all these fighters in-house and then make the best fights. And then, it didn't turn out like that.
Yeah,
but
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was more like the UFC, where all the best guys are under one umbrella and they're going to fight and you find out who the best is. Real simple. No questions asked. So Josh Taylor, now the reigning 140-pound champion. All right, so now let's talk about the undercard here. Derek Chisora versus David Price. I guess we have to talk about it, right? Chisora wins by TKO in the fourth round. Honestly, man, David Price looked like he didn't even want to be there from the opening bell. He seemed to offer no resistance at all. He just went in there and got steamrolled. Didn't do anything. It was a good win for Chisora, I guess. As far as Price goes, I don't care if I ever see him in the ring again. And he shouldn't have been there to begin with. And I heard he had a fight in 8 weeks. Who were you fighting, that you got steamrolled like that? I mean, Chisora did a number. I mean, that guy, you could tell from the opening bell, he would have rather been any place but there.
Well, I guess if you're David Price, you should know by now what your abilities are, and you should fight within your abilities. Fight guys who are at your level. I guess it's hard to say no to a fight like this if you're going to be the co-main event. and you're going to be on the zone, and I'm sure that the money was good, but if you're a promoter, what's the sense of it? I don't know. In this situation, I guess they were stuck. They had to do something because of Joseph Parker pulling out, but.
Which was a much better fight.
Yeah, so
I mean, that was a fight everybody wanted.
It's just a tough situation when you think about it.
It is, and I don't blame Chisora, but I would have obviously much rather seen the Joseph Parker fight. But where does Chisora go from here? I mean, because I'll be honest, man, he's not. I've watched Chisora for a long, long time. And he just doesn't do it for me. He just doesn't. I mean, I don't know. He's not beating any top heavyweights. He's just not. He doesn't have it, man.
Do you think he can beat a Joseph Parker?
No.
No?
No, I think Parker murks him, man. I really do.
Parker would probably beat him.
I think Parker beats him.
Chisora is I think he's still a top 10 guy, but he's at the bottom end of that top 10.
Yeah.
Like, it would be a great fight, him versus Oscar Rivas.
Yeah, somebody in the chat just mentioned that. Carlos Cabrera just mentioned that him and Oscar Rivas.
Oh, wow. I didn't even see that. Wow. We think alike, Carlos.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, that would be a good fight for Rivas. I think that would be, but again, man, any upper echelon heavyweight, he's not beating him. And you know what? You want to make Chisora marketable, put him against some American guys. Put him against some of those PBC guys over there. You know what I mean? Put him against some breathing people in there. Some live bodies.
Yeah.
Because David Price just didn't cut it last night. And I hate to jump all over Price, but he did take the fight. In fairness, listen, man, he took the fight on short notice, and I'm sure he did the best that he could. But he just wasn't in that same, and Price has been around for quite a while too. And it's just one of those things, man. It's just, it was a bad matchup. It just was a bad match. It was a Hearn special is what it was.
It was a bad matchup.
He loves throwing people to the wolves,
It was a bad matchup. I agree.
Chisora Miller press conference. How about that one? How about Big Baby Miller and Derek Chisora in a press conference? That's what he. I tell you what. Listen, I'm not really that impressed with Chisora and his resume or his boxing skill and everything like that, but the guy can sell a fight. The guy can absolutely sell a fight.
Yeah, he can sell a fight.
So, I mean, he's got that going for him, that's for sure.
I agree.
So, Ricky Burns versus Lee Selby, 12 rounds, lightweights. Lee Selby wins a majority decision over Ricky Burns by the scores of 115 all. 116, 113, and 116, 112. Much better fight than I expected. It got a little testy in there, man. A lot of fouls going on. You can tell there was some bad blood in there, man. Good fight, but I'm not sure where Ricky Burns goes from here. He had a good account of himself, no question. But he lost, and Lee Selby won. Obviously, I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. Would you?
It was a decent fight. Yeah, I
wouldn't mind. I mean,
it wasn't a bad fight, but I thought Selby won.
Yeah, I did too. Where does Ricky Burns go from here, though? He's been in the sport for a long time. He's a big name.
I gotta be honest with you. He didn't look bad yesterday.
No, he didn't at all.
He looked better than I expected.
Yeah,
I thought Selby would dominate, but
I was looking at a 118 fight. I was looking at
I thought it was a 116, 112, 115, 113 ish.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that from Ricky Burns, that's for sure.
And I
agree. It was a good fight.
I was expecting a wide, lopsided decision, and I didn't get that. So credit to Ricky Burns.
Yeah, like I said, man, I was expecting the score to be like 118 or something before the fight started, and we get into it, man. It's like these guys genuinely didn't like each other.
No,
they don't like each other. I don't know what it is, man, but they just don't like each other.
They don't like each other.
Mm-mm. Let's see here. What else? Yves Ngabu versus Lawrence Okoli for the European Cruiserweight title. Lawrence Okoli stops Yves Ngabu in the 7th round to win the coveted European Cruiserweight title. Is Lawrence Okoli for real? He's on a streak, man. I like what I see.
He's a good fighter, man.
I think so too.
He's a good fighter. He's a strong kid. He's quick. He's explosive. he's still got a little bit to learn, but I mean, I think if he's moved properly, he'll continue to advance. But strong, powerful kid, strong, powerful kid. I think that he puts his shots together well. I think he works off the jab. I think he's fundamentally sound, but we don't know if what's going to happen if he's pushed back or not. Like we haven't seen him have to go to a plan B yet. We know his plan A is good.
Yeah.
But is his plan B good too? So that's the thing.
He's never really been in there with any kind of opposition in the sense that like where he's been pushed. I don't mean like upper echelon fighters or anything like that because he's still young and coming up. But I mean anybody that really has pushed him at all.
Yeah.
And that's that's not a red flag. He's coming up, and maybe they're bringing him up. And he's fighting better competition, but he's winning those fights.
A lot of people in the chat feel that he's one-dimensional, and he's only had to show one dimension to win so far. So I don't think he's been forced to show a second dimension. So if you're winning with your first dimension, then we don't know if you have a second dimension unless you're forced to do so. You're forced into using it, I guess. I don't know.
Anthony Adelia says that Okoli is unwatchable. Oh, come on. He's got a family. Come on, stop it. Stop it.
I don't think he's that bad.
I don't think he's bad at all. Yeah, I enjoy watching him, quite frankly.
I think he's an exciting fighter.
Krista Green says Okoli hugs too much with them spaghetti arms and doesn't excite me at all. Oh.
We don't have too many Okoli fans in the chat.
I know. How about that, man?
I'm surprised you UK guys get behind all your fighters.
Yeah, what's going on? What did he do to you guys?
What did he do?
Oh man, yeah, they're usually always behind those UK guys.
Okay.
Conor Benn versus Steve Jamoy, 10 rounds welterweights. Conor Benn wins via 4th round KO. Conor Benn is tough for me. He's winning fights. But I could be wrong, but when I watch him, I just don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I don't see him competing at that big level. He might get a payday because of who he is, but I just don't feel. I mean, listen, man, he could definitely he can make some noise. He'll be like I said, man, he'll get a couple of good fights because of who he is, but I just don't see him climbing that ladder, man. I just don't. Skill wise, it's just he's not. Listen, man, he's not his dad. He's just not that guy.
Yeah. He's a little slow, he's a little rougher on the edges.
When did he start boxing? He had to start late, right?
Yeah, he was.
It's not like you can tell the guys who started late and the guys have been doing it for a while.
Yeah. And
to me, he started. He looks like he started late, man.
And his dad can punch, but he's not his dad.
No. Well, you remember what is it? Julian Jackson, his 2 kids that were in, and those guys carried a punch.
Yeah. They inherited their dad's punch.
They also got his chin, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they had trouble taking shots, and a lot of times, man, it's hard to find, like, if you're, I think if you're maybe your dad was a mid-range boxer, maybe you have a chance, but like I don't know, it's like one of those things where, like, if your dad was really, really good, like world champion level, look at Chavez as a perfect example. I mean, his kids got all the ability in the world. I mean, they really do. If you watch them, they do really good things in there. But it's the lack of training. It's the lack of because they don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a big difference, man, when you have to do something versus when you don't have to do something.
I agree.
You don't have to want it as much.
I agree.
All right, let's move on to this ESPN card, man. It's a packed weekend in boxing. ESPN Plus, Shakur Stevenson versus Joet Gonzalez for the vacant WBO featherweight title. Shakur Stevenson wins the WBO featherweight title by unanimous decision over Joet Gonzalez. Scores were 119 to 109 on all cards. Listen, there was a lot of hype around this fight because of Stevenson's relationship with Gonzalez's sister. But as soon as the bell rang, it was pretty clear it was going to be a one-sided fight. Joet Gonzalez, was trying in there, but Stevenson was just on another level. Stevenson is a very defensive fighter, but honestly, I think he may have some issues with a skilled pressure fighter. Let me talk about Joet here for a second. There wasn't much good there, other than he's a tough guy. We found out that Joet is a very tough guy. We found out that he's not as skilled, championship level skilled, as Shakur Stevenson. One thing he did very well. One thing in Beeb saw the fight, and maybe I'm wrong here, but one thing I thought he did really well, and I was really, really impressed with, even though he couldn't capitalize on it, was cutting off the ring against Shakur Stevenson. If you watch that fight, he cuts off the ring immediately, and he does it really well. Shakur is just too quick, too slick. He's able to get out of it. He's able to move and pivot out of there. But if you watch that fight and you watch him, Joet Gonzalez does a beautiful job of cutting off the ring. Now, the unfortunate part about that is once he cut off the ring, he still couldn't corner him. He still couldn't pin him anywhere. And the other part is he couldn't capitalize on anything once he got there. And, it honestly, it showed. I mean, it really did. And listen, man, Stevenson is over there with Terrence Crawford, with Andre Ward. I think that kid, Gonzalez, I think he was really genuinely irritated with the situation. He had a personal beef with Stevenson over his sister, kind of ripping that family apart. The dad, I guess, if you watch the pre-show, the family doesn't talk to the sister anymore, which nonsense, But there was a lot of stuff there, and I think that was weighing on his mind. That being said, I don't think he could have done anything differently, and he's not winning that fight. No way.
Well, here's the problem I have with the fight. It was for a world title. and
yeah. Seeing Joet Gonzalez fight for a world title, yeah.
You and I have had this discussion several times, and we're not going to go back down that road. We're not. I don't want you to think we're going back down that road. But let's take a different turn on that road, and let's look at this. Now, when a guy does win a world title, he's elevated. The expectations are elevated as well. The fighter himself gets more confident in himself, and he believes that he's at that top level. Now, after 13, 14 fights, and when you look at the guys that he's fought, and with all due respect to Joet Gonzalez, because I don't want to be on that list of people that his family doesn't want to talk to, but
you get on that list pretty quick. I don't know.
Yeah, you get on that list pretty quick. But with all due respect to Joet Gonzalez, now I don't think any of us would put him in the top 10, top 15 featherweights.
No.
So for him to be fighting for a vacant title, world title, it seems a little bit bizarre to me, to say the least. But going back to that other point I want to make, Shakur Stevenson beats a guy like Joet Gonzalez, and he's running around the ring saying, "See, I told you. Told you I was going to show y'all. I mean, what did you really show us? I mean, you were a -8. You were a -8,000. Nobody except for Gonzalez's family members thought he was going to win the fight.
No.
So once again, now this guy's wearing a WBO world title belt, and he's going to be called champion. Are we going to look at him in the same light that we look at a guy like Josh Warrington, a guy like Leo Santa Cruz, who's already run the gauntlet, right? Guy like Gary Russell Jr., guys who have proven, guys that got 30 fights, guys who I think are solid champions. We don't really know how good this kid Shakur Stevenson is, because it's like this. He's calling out all the champions. He's ready to unify, right? But you're going from you're going to go from a Gonzalez to a Warrington to a Russell Jr. to a Leo Santa Cruz. It's the same situation with Anthony Yard. He went right to Kovalev, but he had no fights that prepared him for that challenge.
Right.
Just like, in my opinion, this kid has no fights to prepare him to fight at that championship level. And I'm going to be honest with you. When we had a discussion about this off air, to me, I don't think he passes the eye test because you made a great point, and I agree with you 110%. Nobody likes to get hit.
Right.
But this kid really doesn't like to get hit, like to the point where where it's weighing on his mind, like, you know, he's going out of his way, like he's focusing on, like, I don't want to get hit, to the point where it's affecting the way he fights. So he fights overly defensive. It's like, it's one thing making a step here, making a slip here, pivoting this way, pivoting that way. But when you're taking yourself all the way out, instead of just taking a side step just to make your guy miss, so you could be that close enough where you could, reset and transition back into offense. This guy is so concerned about getting hit that he's taking himself all the way out. So instead of going from downshifting from fifth gear to fourth gear, he's going all the way back down to one. And the problem with that is when you go all the way back down to one, then you got to start all over again. And of course, you have the time to start all over again because all these guys you've been in with, you're so much quicker and faster and just a better athlete all around. What happens when the competition gets better and you're not allowed to go all the way back out and reset? You need to think quick. You need to make a quick move and then go back on offense because it's like right now everything's in slow motion because you're so much faster than everybody else. But what about when you're not in slow motion anymore and the speed of what's going on in front of you changes and it's real time speed? You're not going to have the luxury. Now that you made a great point. That guy cut the ring off very well last night, Gonzalez.
Yeah, he did.
What if he's in there with a guy like Santa Cruz who cuts the ring off just as well, 10 times better, but also knows what to do.
Once you get there, yeah,
and has the speed to act on cutting off the ring. Yeah. What's going to happen? These guys aren't going to let you go all the way out. So I don't like these Amir Khan type fighters that go all the way out because what happens is when they go all the way out, you follow them back out. They're on defense. They're not going to. The only way they go back on offense is if they go all the way back in. So these in and out ambush type style fighters that go in and out. So when they go out, you follow them out. When they come in, you back off and you let them and you suck them into a trap. So if people, a real seasoned pro can time him when he goes out, and if a guy like Gonzalez, who's not the greatest fighter in the world, with all due respect, again, I don't want to get blackballed by the family, but if he's able to cut the ring off, what's going to happen with these other guys who can cut off the ring just 10 times better than him, but know how to make the move and know what to do after they cut the ring off? So that's going to be a problem for him. So another thing I don't like is, once again, so overly concerned about getting hit, where it's weighing on his mind, where he's focused on it during the fight. That's why I think he's going boom, boom, boom. So he's just running through his combinations so quick instead of sitting down on them and really, because he's so concerned about what's coming back. If you're overly concerned about what's coming back at you to the point where you have to where you have to get way the fuck out of there because you don't want to deal with the return fire, instead of having the confidence that you could stay there, maybe make a half step to the side, maybe slip. Make that little subtle move. Instead of making that little subtle move because you're so concerned about what's coming back at you that you have to go all the way back out and reset again. And not only that, like I said, if you're trying to run through those punches and you're not sitting down on them and you're just going boom, 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 throwing those pity-pat amateur punches because you know that you can get more of them off and you can get out of there quick enough. It's like, I'm just going to throw these punches and jet the fuck out, instead of sitting down on them because you're concerned if I sit down on them, maybe a little bit of the speed's going to come off them, and then I'm opening myself up to danger. So this guy's overly concerned about the return fire, in my opinion, and I think you agree with me on that point.
Yes,
and
sure.
And I think that stifles his offense a little bit. Now let's talk about another situation. We're going to use an example. Lomachenko, in the second fight with Salido. I picked Salido in that fight. You can go back and you can on the other show and you'll see that I picked Salido. But one thing I took away from that fight, you can go back to the post-fight show, and I actually thought the fight was close, but I praised Lomachenko in that fight, and I'll tell you why. Because I questioned whether or not he had the dog in him going into that fight. I thought maybe he's just a finesse fighter. He's just one of them flashy guys. But one thing I found out is, in that 12th round, he came back and he hurt Salido. And I said to myself, if there was 30 seconds left more in that round, he maybe could have stopped Salido. So one thing Lomachenko proved to me in that fight was he had that dog in him. I'm going to be honest with you, and maybe this is a strong statement. Judging by the way that Shakur Stevenson fights, just the way he presents himself in the ring, he doesn't strike me as a guy that has that dog in him. Like, what's going to happen when the going gets tough? If you're already darting out of there and you're just pity-patting and jetting the hell out of there right away because you're so concerned about what's coming back at you, what's going to happen when you're not going to have enough time to jet out of there? What's going to happen when someone follows you out there and doesn't give you any escape route? What's going to happen when you have to actually sit down and fight and you're forced to sit down on your punches and throw a hard punch to keep that guy off you? If you're not willing to do that against these guys, what makes me think that you're willing to do it against the other guys like Warrington, Gary Russell, and Leo Santa Cruz? Because I'll tell you something right now. I think Leo Santa Cruz would beat the hell out of Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that Gary Russell beats him. I think
Gary Russell beats.
Leo
I know
Santa Cruz beats him. But I will tell you this. I think that he beats Warrington. He's been calling him out. I think he's just got the style.
I disagree.
I think he's just got the style.
I disagree.
But yeah, I'm with you with the whole, like I said, he's a little bit too defensive for me, and why he's not sitting more, on those punches. Listen, man, and I tell you, to me, we've seen guys that really don't want to get hit like this. To me,
Andre Jarrell was another one.
I'm wondering if he has a chin problem. I'm wondering if he gets hurt easy, Like I said, Amir Khan has a similar style where, he makes you miss by a mile completely out of, and uses his speed and footwork and everything like that. And I don't, like I said, and as dominant as the performance was last night, it brought up more questions for me than it answered. And I thought, like I said, I thought Shakur Stevenson was like the guy coming in, but yeah, I think that he's gonna. If he fights like a Gary Russell or somebody like that, yeah, he's gonna get murdered in there.
I just don't like the fact that you take a guy like that and throw him in there with a guy like Gonzalez, and automatically he's supposed to be a champion, and I'm supposed to look at this guy in the same way that I would look at a Gary Russell, a Josh Warrington, or a Leo Santa Cruz, and I just.
Well, who's the champion there though? We've got a gaggle of them at 130, at that weight. So, we just mentioned a few of them, and they're talking about Kid Galahad in the chat and how we both had Kid Galahad beating Warrington.
I thought so too.
I thought so too. So, we can really throw Kid Galahad in that mix too, because I think he's one of the top guys there too.
Yeah.
How about Kid Galahad? How about Kid Galahad versus Shakur?
Oh, forget about it.
How's that? That's a good fight though, right? That's a good fight.
I can't.
It's a great fight, man.
I can't answer that if it's a good fight because I don't think I'm not. I'm
You're
very
not a Shakur guy. Yeah,
I'm very skeptical on whether or not whether Shakur has it or not. I don't see it. I'm being honest with you. I don't.
You don't think he has talent though? The other thing we can't discount too is his Olympic pedigree. That's the other thing you can't really discount, man. He went up there and got a silver medal. The first guy in a while to go get a medal or whatever. I think he was the only one that medaled in that whole thing.
I'm sorry, Eric.
That's a big deal.
I'm going to say something that's going to be very controversial.
How dare you?
I don't think the Olympics prepares you for the pros.
How dare you?
Fighting?
No, you're right. It doesn't. But
I just think, with all due respect, and again, I know where you're going from, but
yeah.
this whole thing of, well, look at the guys, amateur. Okay, that's great. That's great. But amateurs and pros are two different things, man. I mean, look at a guy like Howard Davis Jr. Okay?
Yeah.
He was voted the best fighter in the Olympics. Like he won the Kyle Bacher Award.
Yeah.
Look what he did as a pro. Like it's night and day. It really is.
Possibly one of the best amateur fighters in America ever.
Night and day. Night and day. I just, in other words, I don't think just because you win a gold medal, that's a guarantee. Well, he didn't even win a gold medal. He won a silver. Just because you won a medal, that automatically you're going to be a good pro. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, and I blame the boxing media, and I blame the promoters, and I blame all these boxing people because it's used as a marketing tool. Now they go as far as saying, "Oh, the former Olympian." Guys don't even have to win a medal anymore.
They just have to show up. Yeah.
Oh, the former Olympian. Like it's like such a high point on someone. And again, I'm not discounting the Olympics. I'm not saying it means nothing. But it's not a fucking ticket to the friggin' promised land in the pros. Because I can go off and I could tell you a lot. Terrell Biggs, gold medalist. What did he do as a pro?
He got knocked out by Tyson, yeah.
So,
or no, Lennox Lewis. It was Lennox Lewis that knocked him out. Did Tyson knock him out too?
I think Tyson knocked him out.
But I know Lennox Lewis knocked him out.
So there's a lot of guys. What was another one there? The UK heavyweight. Audley Harrison, another one. Gold medalist.
Yeah, Audley Harrison was another disappointment, yeah.
So, again, let's not just, this guy's a medalist, this guy's an Olympian. Doesn't mean shit. That's not an automatic confirmation that you're going to be a great pro. You're going to be a great world champion.
Dale in Chi-Town just left a comment. He says he's no Mark Breland. Who's Mark Breland? I don't know. That's odd. I don't know. I don't get it, man. Who's Mark Breland? All right. So, but I will tell you, while you're just peeing on the Olympic dreams of everybody, I will tell you this: what the Olympics do prepare you for is styles. And I think that I think that's what you can't discount there. Now, definitely it's a different feel in the pros than it is in the amateurs. I don't think there's any question about that. But what it does, I mean, these guys travel the world. So by the time they get to the pros, now the time they make the adjustments, there's really very few styles that they haven't seen at that point. You've seen styles from all over the world.
But
that counts as experience, and that cannot be discounted.
Okay, but here's the problem. You're also seeing a guy with headgear on, and you're looking at him with headgear.
For sure.
Through the headgear, right?
For sure.
You got bigger gloves.
Who was the Chinese guy that won like 2 or 3 gold medals? Zhu Shiming.
Zhu Shiming. What happened to him?
But, you could look and say the same thing about Lomachenko. He won 2 gold medals, right? Mm-hmm. And look at him. I mean, he's amazing.
He's a phenomenal fighter.
Some people make that transition. Some people don't make that transition.
I mean, think about it. 3 rounds. 3 rounds.
Yeah.
How many guys start slow and then they start and they like you gotta, you're going from 3 rounds to 4 rounds to 6 rounds to 8 rounds, and when you get to that top, you gotta fight 12 rounds.
Yeah.
To me,
easy, man.
To me, Shakur Stevenson still has an amateur style.
It's looking like it. You know what? And you know what would really kind of put the seal on it for me last night? Joey Gonzalez shot a right. It looked like a right hand. I believe it was a right hand to the body. All right, shot a right hand to the body, and Shakur just completely leaped out of the way. He like went 1 or 2 feet back into the corner, and then just skated out of trouble or whatever. And that just kind of hit me, and the announcers were wetting their pants over it. They were doing the replays and everything. Oh my God, did you see that? It was amazing.
Tim Bradley is, oh my God, he's horrible.
Yeah,
he's got to go.
He's got to go.
Did you see him hanging all over Terrence Crawford last night too?
Oh my God, like
hugging him, tatting him.
Jesus, just take a shower with the guy already. I mean, for real, like what are you doing, dude?
You want to get a room?
Yeah, right.
It's like he's starstruck over Terrence. I mean, I like Terrence Crawford. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not,
I'm not an ex-world champion either, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, dude, like you're, come on, man, show some decorum here. But I'll tell you, when he moved out of the way from that body shot, Because if you watch the replay of that body shot, the guy's left hand is down, his right hand's extended. He's trying anything he can to hit this guy. That is the time to step back and pop that guy, to sit down on a punch and catch him with that body shot. Listen, that's one of the most dangerous shots to throw in boxing is that shot to the body. That straight right or straight left to the body. That is one of the hardest punches to land. It's one of the hardest punches to throw because you put yourself in the most danger because you're overextended at that point. You know, and you're open for an overhand right or an overhand left at that point, depending on which one you throw. You're open for a shot. That's the time to nail him with that shot, and that's the time to put him out with that shot. And he didn't. Yeah. He decided I'm just not getting hit, you know, and I'm just moving. That's all it was. He just decided he wasn't going to get hit, and hey, good for him. And you know what? And the defense is, well, hey, if I was training your son or daughter to fight, how would you want me to train him? Yeah, train him like, 100%. 100%. But listen, the thing is, you know, you're not really doing you're not doing him any service because when he goes up against a pressure fighter, he's going to have to bite down on that.
But you said something, Eric. You said hit and not get hit. It's not just not get hit. It's hit and not get hit.
Right, hit and not get hit. Right.
So if you're running all the way out, you know, up against the ropes, 15 feet away from your opponent, you're not in a position to hit, are you? You're just in a position to not get hit.
Not get hit. You have to reset, just like you had alluded to earlier. You have to then reset, and then he's got to reset, but then you have to reset too, and then you're back to square one.
Now that whole thing about Willie Pep winning a round without even throwing a punch, that's because the other guy really didn't throw many punches either. So
you know what? A lot of people are down on Joette's corner in this fight. A lot of people saying the corner didn't do a great job. I didn't hear a whole lot of instruction coming out of the corner. Granted, again, man, I'd like to see. I wish there was like a split, you know, where, you know how they have different channels come the Final Four season, where you can watch, you know, say Kentucky playing and then Ohio State playing, but then you have their announcers on there, and then you get like all the coverage. And I wish they did that where I can switch a channel and go to Joette's corner or go to Shakur's corner, listen to the instruction that they're giving them before the round, you know. But I will tell you, I mean, right around the 6th or 7th round, they were telling him, hey, man, you've got to do something here. You got to knock him out. But I don't know, really. I think the corner was banking a lot. All I heard going into there was the whole beef thing, and then I heard that they sparred a couple years ago and that Joette had got the better of the sparring. I don't put any stock in the sparring. I mean zero stock in the sparring.
I hate to keep harping on this, but my biggest problem with that fight last night was the fact that it was a world title fight. I think that was a mockery of the world title. I'm sorry.
For Joette Gonzalez, yeah, I would have liked to seen. Hey, listen, Michael Conlan's ranked number 3. Put him in there. Let's see those two go at it. I mean, that would have been a world title fight, I think.
I wouldn't have hated that.
No,
I wouldn't have hated that.
But that's not going to happen. I mean, they're top ranks trying to build them up. One's going to go one way, one's going to go the other. I mean, one's going to move up in weight, or they're not going to fight each other this soon. Yeah. But do you think? I think the Warrington fight happens. I think that.
You think so?
I think so. He's been calling them out for a while.
I don't think it happens.
Now, why don't you think it happens? Do you think it doesn't happen because of Arum, or
I got 2 words for you. I'll tell you why it doesn't happen. Andre Ward.
Interesting.
He's not going to let him fight him.
Interesting. Ward is very good. Ward knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Ward's a smart.
Yes.
He's an extremely intelligent person.
Yeah.
And this kid is not going to fight any of those guys until probably the end of next year.
Yeah.
Maybe or maybe at least.
Right.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
Because what does Ward keep saying? I don't want to rush him. I don't want to rush him. I don't want to rush him.
And that's good.
Everyone else keeps talking. Everyone's saying to Ward, what are you going to do? When's he going to do this? And what does Ward say? How does he answer every question? I don't want to rush him. I don't want to rush him. Yep. Now, what's Ward going to say? We'll take this fight, but we don't want you to. We don't want you to put the world title on the line for us. I mean, you got to take. I mean, it's not Ward's fault that they made this a world title fight. I think Ward knows that this. If you ask, if Ward,
he knows.
If you took Wonder Woman's lasso with truth and wrapped it around Andre Ward's shoulders, and you asked him, should this have been a real world title fight? He would have said no. Let's drink a little truth serum right here. Little truth serum.
Or put the Joker's gun to his head.
A little off track.
I'm just saying. It was a good movie. I'm just saying.
It was a really good movie.
It was a really good movie, right? It was a good movie. All right, let's go to the phones here. I believe this is Nacho. 805. 805, you're live.
Uh-oh.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey,
Orale!
Hey.
What's up, Notch?
What's up, Beeb?
What's going on, brother?
Yeah, guys, watching that fight last night with Stevenson and Gonzalez, I just felt like Gonzalez was completely tentative from jump, and Stevenson could see that after the first couple rounds, he wasn't going to make any kind of adjustments, and it was pretty much game over. He just stood in front of him all night and did the same thing over and over, and I'm thinking to myself, why is his corner not telling him how to make the adjustment to step outside of Stevenson's left or right foot and, start throwing some, hooks and some straight rights down the middle in order to counteract what Stevenson was trying to do. But no, instead he was just throwing the occasional jab to the stomach, and he would try to throw a right hand, but then he would miss, and then Stevenson would just start, scurrying away, and he never was able to get any kind of offense going at all the entire fight. And the only thing that his corner actually did tell him the truth in was towards the end, I think it was round 8, when they knew they were way behind, and the dad actually told him, you're losing the fight. The only way you're going to beat him is if you knock him out at this point, because other than that, you have no shot of beating this guy. So I just felt like Gonzalez's corner did him no favor last night, and they didn't help him out. And, he basically he got whitewashed, and he never made any kind of adjustment. I agree with you guys. I think Stevenson is who he is right now. I mean, 13 pro fights, and he's fighting the way he's fighting. I don't really see him changing that style as long as he wins. He fought like that against Christopher Diaz when he beat him. Very defensive-minded, overly cautious, doing just enough to keep him off of him and bank the rounds and win a decision. So at this point, I mean, I think Stevenson is who he is. I don't know if he's going to change his style much as his career goes along. I think with him, it's going to be a case of can they match him with the right guys in order to, make him look good, because at this point, I don't really see him taking on anyone at 26. I could see him probably fighting Warrington, and that might be an interesting fight because Warrington will probably come out and be aggressive and come after him. But, I mean, other than that, there's really no one else at 26 that he can really fight. They're all on the PBC side of the street. So,
Nacho, let me ask you a question.
To be seen what happens.
Nacho, let me ask you a question, because I know you alluded to Joette Gonzalez's corner, and a lot of people have said, they didn't give him instruction, they didn't give him. But in fairness, I mean, what could they have told him that they didn't tell him that would have made a difference in there? Because I just think he was just outskilled. I mean, I don't think he was trying. I mean, I think you could see that he was trying. I thought he did a great job, again, of cutting off the ring. He just couldn't capitalize. I mean, listen, man, if a guy doesn't want to get hit, it's hard to make him stand and fight. And that was Gonzalez's game, is to make you to get in there and fight, to get in there and box. And I mean, that wasn't Shakur's game.
No, that's true. I mean, I could concede that point for sure. If Shakur is going to stay away, it's definitely going to. But honestly, in my opinion, I don't think Gonzalez did a good job of cutting that ring off. I thought there was too many occasions where he allowed Stevenson to basically spin his way off the ropes and out of the corner when he would trap him. Or what Stevenson would do was he would wrap him up on the inside and not let him get off any offense.
Right.
So he fought a lot like his predecessor Andre Ward, who was there telling him what to do, because that's what Ward would do against guys. He would spin off the ropes when they were trying to trap him, and he would hold and maul guys on the inside, so they wouldn't be able to work on the inside either. So he followed that game plan to a T. But I just think that they did him no favors from the standpoint of trying to make some kind of subtle adjustments, at least trying to get him to stay outside of Stevenson's lead foot, and kind of give him angles, step to the side, throw punches from other angles at Stevenson. Instead, he just stood right in front of Stevenson and let him just basically counter him as soon as he would throw a jab or a right hand and miss. Stevenson was just waiting to counter, and it was just too easy. It was like a glorified sparring session. I mean, that's just the way I thought last time when I was watching the fight.
For sure. I think everybody saw it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other fight with Greer and Nieves, I thought that fight was really interesting because I thought Greer was going to get him out of there, but Nieves put up a lot better fight than I thought he would have, for sure. And he gave Greer a tough time, and I think Greer is pretty lucky he escaped with that decision, because he could have, if Nieves had stepped up earlier in the fight, he might have probably stolen that fight, because the fight was as close as the judges had it. I thought Greer barely won that fight too. I had him winning by a point as well. So, Greer did what he had to do, but I'm not completely sold on him being a legit contender at 118 or 122, whatever he's at right now. So it'll remain to be seen what they do with him. And then as far as the other fight, I mean, Taylor and Prograis, man, that was a hell of a fight. Like, I honestly expected Taylor to win, and I expected Prograis to have his moments, but I was very surprised at how Taylor was able to basically bully Prograis at times in that fight, and be the bigger man physically and push Prograis backwards, which I hadn't seen anybody do. And Taylor was able to do that, and he was able to work on the inside and hit him really well to the body, and Prograis hung in there, and he got to Taylor a few times, and I thought he might have hurt him, but Taylor took some shots really well, and he rolled with him, and he won the fight. I thought Taylor won 15-13. I still can't believe that judge scored it 9-3 for Taylor. That was ridiculous.
No, it was 9. It was 9-2. 9-2, one even.
He had a one even. Did he have a one even?
Oh, 9-2 was one even.
One even, bro.
Oh, jeez.
What the fuck?
That's terrible. Yeah, that was terrible. There's no way that Prograis only won 2 rounds.
Why did Prograis even show up if that was going to happen?
So, yeah, exactly. I mean, talk about some home cooking. Jeez. Like, that's ridiculous. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Taylor take on Ramirez, but with Ramirez having this so-called mandatory coming up next year against Victor Postal, I mean, I wonder how long it's going to be before we get to see Josh Taylor take on Jose Ramirez for all the marbles at 140, because, I mean, at this point, both guys have the 2 belts each. So I want to see that unification before either guy ends up moving up to 47, because I don't think either guy is going to stick around at 40 much longer. They're both huge at 40. So I hope they make that fight sooner rather than later before they move up to 147. And what's the other fight? Oh, yeah, the Chisora Price. That fight went exactly the way I thought it would. Chisora won that fight easy. He's probably going to get another payday against another big name, and then he'll lose, and then Hearn will give him, another 2-3 wins before he gets thrown. He just keeps getting recycled over and over, and I'm just kind of like, okay, like, we've seen this before from Chisora. He beats guys that are on his level or below his level, but as soon as he fights the best guys at heavyweight, he always ends up getting beat. So I don't get what the hell the point of that fight was.
Yeah.
And,
Real quick, Nacho, real quick, before I let you go here. Kovalev or Canelo, who you got?
I think Canelo's gonna win, but he's gonna win a controversial decision.
Wow, there was a long pause there after you asked that
He was
question.
thinking about it. He was thinking
Oh
about
my
it.
God, man!
Whoa!
Wow.
What kind of Mexican are you, son?
I think Canelo. No, well, don't get me wrong. I respect Canelo, but I'm not I'm not a fan of his that I'm just gonna sit here and say oh, he's just gonna win this fight like a piece of cake. No way. I think Kovalev is going in there. From what I've seen, he looks like he's in shape and he's ready to go. And I think he's gonna give him problems with that length, and his power is gonna be in play. And I just think somehow, some way, Canelo's going to escape with a decision.
Wow.
Mark my words. I think he's going to win. He's going to win a split decision somehow, but it's going to be somewhat controversial where he walks away with Kovalev's belt, but it's going to be somewhat controversial.
Wow. Yeah, well, I'm rolling with the home team, son. I'll tell you that. I'm rolling with La Raza. I'm rolling with the home team, all right? Mexicans can get behind me, all right? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what's going on with you lately, but yeah. Listen, no tacos for a week for you, son. That's it. You're done.
Whoa!
Tribes voted you out, son. All right, Nacho, man. We'll catch you next week.
All right, guys.
All right, man.
Yeah, all right. See you.
Wow. It's insane. D-Style, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. D-Style says Josh Taylor is the modern-day William Wallace 2.0. Taylor beats Regis. Ramirez beats Taylor. Regis beats Ramirez. I'm 1 for 3 so far. All right, there you go. All right, so let's see here. I'll tell you what, before I go to New York, let's talk about the Showtime fights, and then we'll go to New York here. Yeah, Josh Greer, the undercard for Stevenson. Josh Greer versus Antonio Nieves. Josh Greer wins a close unanimous decision over Nieves by the scores of 95-94 and 96-93 twice, I believe. Greer was knocked down in the final round but managed to survive and get the decision. Michaela Mayer versus Alejandra Soledad Zamora. Junior lightweights. Mayer wins by the TKO in the 6th round. It's 6th round, but it was actually between the 6th and 7th rounds. Ohio's own Albert Bell wins a unanimous decision over Frank D'Alba by the scores of 80-72 on all cards. And now let's talk about these Showtime fights. And I was kind of excited about these Showtime fights, but I'll be real honest, man. There was only one good fight on there. Let's start with the main event here. Erickson Lubin versus Nathaniel Gallimore. Lubin wins a unanimous decision over Gallimore by the scores of 99-91 on all cards. Lubin dominated the action. Gallimore definitely had his moments, but not enough to really get the rounds. The fight didn't do a whole lot for me. Beeb, did this do a whole lot for you?
Not really.
Yeah, I wasn't.
This was mismatch city.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with this, man. Really wasn't. Ohio's own, baby. Robert Easter Jr. versus Adrian Granados. 10 rounds, junior welterweights. What does Adrian Granados hates Ohio? Because he can't ever beat us, son. He can't ever beat us. Robert Easter wins a unanimous decision over Adrian Granados by the scores of 97-93, 98-92, and 100-90. I thought it was a good fight, man. I thought it was a really good fight. I thought Easter did enough to win, but that being said, I didn't score the fight, but Adrian Granados never seems to get the nod in close fights, and this was a closer fight, man. I thought Easter did a good job. I thought he looked great at 140. I thought he looked more comfortable at 140. I see him getting some interesting fights there. But Adrian Granados did the same thing, man. I think he needs to be at 140. That is his best weight. He cannot go up to 147 anymore. He needs to stay at fights at 140. I thought he looked great too. B, what were your thoughts on this one?
I was very impressed with Robert Easter. I think he let his hands go in this fight a lot. He moved very well in this fight, and this was a classic example of moving just enough. He would slip off to the side, and then he would come around Granados' guard, and he would shoot just shoot the right hand around. He was looping, throwing a lot of looping, short, choppy shots on the inside. And a lot of that was just making subtle movements, creating punching angles for himself. And, he was very defensively responsible, but he didn't have to. He was a tall, long guy, but he didn't have to go all the way out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he was able to make subtle movements to create punching angles for himself and take the punching angles away from Granados. So this was a classic example of, just moving just enough and not moving excessively, where he was able to, switch back on and reset quicker and get his offense going. So he threw a lot of punches in this fight. He was very busy, and what I liked is he moved his hands when he was in the pocket. He didn't just stand there and wait. He actually got off first and moved his hands. A lot of times he'll wait. In certain fights, you see him just wait. In the Comey fight, I thought he waited a lot while he was in the pocket, and he let Comey get off first. In this fight, he got off first, and he moved his hands very well, and he went well into the body. And I just thought he was just very accurate with his punches. I thought he landed a lot of clean punches. I thought Granados had a few moments, but I scored this fight 8-4. Or actually, I scored it 8-4. So I thought he won pretty wide.
Yeah, the Granados threw, I think the punch stat was like 150. I think he landed like 100 something more shots than Easter did. But again, that's CompuBox. That's if you're a CompuBox guy and if you score fights. But that's why we don't score fights on CompuBox.
No, you can't.
I mean, if this was an amateur fight, he wins it. But it's not an amateur fight, son. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, then how much do you rely on those CompuBox to be accurate? I just don't.
I don't either. I mean, they're like, again, there's people running them. It's not like there's stuff in their gloves. I mean, it's just people running them. So, how effective can it be? They can be manipulated just like anything else.
Or actually, that was a 10-round fight. That wasn't a 12-round fight. So 97-93 is about right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, man, that is what it is. There was a heavyweight fight on the undercard, too. Not going to get into it because it sucked. I wasn't real impressed with it. I don't even know who it was. I don't know. It was some Cuban guy, and I can't remember who it was. But wasn't worth mentioning. Beeb,
Yes, sir.
it just keeps going on.
It doesn't stop, does it?
It doesn't stop, my man.
I don't think it will.
I think he goes forever. TBE, son. TBE, Wanheng Menayothin versus Simpewi Konko for the WBC strawweight title or minimum weight title. Is one of those.
Minimum weight, yeah.
Yeah, minimum weight. Are minimum weight and strawweight the same thing? They're in the same.
They're the same thing.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yep.
TBE wins by unanimous decision by the scores of 116, 110, 117, 109, and 118 to 109. 54-0. He's blasting Mayweather's record. Blasting him, making him look like a fool, son. He's the best to ever lace him up. Beeb, he's got to be the best now, right? He's 54-0.
He's
undefeated.
He's my all-time best.
I think he's better than Ray Robinson. I think he's better than Muhammad Ali. I think he's better than Floyd. I think he's better than Conor McGregor. I think he's better than all those guys. 54-0. What do you prove me wrong? You can't.
I can't do it.
You can't. It's undisputed. He's undisputed king of boxing. 54-0. Is it even worth arguing, Beeb? Not even worth arguing.
You're not going to get an argument out of me.
Nope.
Lois?
Nope.
Nope. She doesn't say you did.
She's deflated, Beeb. What's the matter?
I'm not. Please.
Oh my goodness. So he's 54-0. Nobody knows his name. But seriously, obviously he's a pretty good fighter. 105 pounds. Even jockeys weigh like 108 or 110, something like that. I mean, he's 105 pounds.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
He's the toughest 105 pounder you're ever gonna see.
Tell you what, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. Why is he not trying to unify these titles? People are calling for him to move up in weight too. Move up to 108. I don't know. Maybe not. But I mean, listen, if he's successful here, he's getting more press because of his record, obviously. he's a really good fighter. I mean, take nothing away from him. I've seen him fight. You've seen him fight. He's a pretty good fighter. But, and obviously those guys down at that weight, I mean, they're all good. They're all going to be good, you know. It's not like he's fighting, scrubs down there. But why doesn't he try to unify? I mean, but I don't know who his promoter is, too. I mean, he was fighting in this fight took place in Thailand.
Eric, you should promote him.
I should. He's the best ever.
You love the guy.
That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I think he should try to go to the WBA, grab one of their titles, and then I think he should try to unify. He really should.
Yeah, he will.
He should.
He'll do it eventually.
And that would make him, I don't know about a household name, but, maybe
as long as we know who he is, that's all that matters.
What else is there? What else is there?
Who cares what the mainstream thinks?
You mean the lame stream? What do they think?
Yeah, who cares?
If we're mentioning your name on our show, I mean, that's like hitting the lotto, son.
That's all that matters.
That's it. That's it. That's like hitting the lotto. It's like hitting the lotto, baby. All right, let's go to New York. 917. I think it's New York.
That's
917.
Hey.
You're
Yeah,
live.
it's New York. I'm calling from the Bronx. Hear me?
The
Yeah,
boogie
yeah.
down. The boogie down.
Boogie down, Bronx.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book. What's up? My name's Emil, by the way.
What's going on, my man? How you
listening
doing?
to you guys a
Emil,
little
nice
bit.
to meet you, man.
Great show.
Thank you so much.
Good, man. So you said something, Joe, that had me thinking. You were saying that you didn't agree with the fact that this was a title fight, right?
Yeah,
The
yes,
Shakur
sir.
Stevenson fight.
Yes, sir.
And I agree with you, but it had me thinking, when did the WBO become like a major title? Because I remember when I was growing up,
Good
it was
point.
not like a major title. I remember Herbie Hyde had that championship, and like nobody recognized him as a legit heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
So I'm looking through the list of the past, WBO champions or the first champions, and you wouldn't recognize any of these people's names. Doug DeWitt, first middleweight champion. Let's go to light heavyweight. Well, Michael Moore, that's a recognizable one. You go up higher to heavyweight, and the first guy was Francesco
Damiani.
Damiani, yeah.
Damiani, yeah.
Like, I mean, these guys, but like they were not considered world champions. So I know that the PBC took some slack for not including WBO titles in their graphics and stuff. But legit question: when did the WBO belt be considered, equal status with the WBC and the other belts?
I don't know. And I'm looking at it right now. Chris Eubank in the 90s had the title. Darius Michalczewski had the title. That was the one that they wanted Roy Jones to go fight, and he wouldn't because they wanted him to unify at that point, and he wouldn't do it. Nassim, probably the biggest name from that area. De La Hoya, when he fought Jimmy Bradal for his first fight. That counted as a world. I think he was a WBO champion.
De La Hoya's first world title was WBO.
It was Jimmy Bradal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe Calzaghe held
I know he beat
that belt.
Stern, too, at middleweight. Yeah.
You know what?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm going to be honest with
it's
you.
become a recent thing where it's considered a major title.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how it happened, really. It kind of just snuck in there.
Yeah, it did. It really did.
The WBO came into existence in 1988, and I want to say maybe like in the year it took a good 10 years for it to really start to get some recognition.
But he's got a point though, Beeb, because
But
like I said, the IBF. Remember, the IBF didn't really become a thing until Larry Holmes got that belt.
Yeah,
and he's the one that put them on the map.
Yeah, the IBF came out in like '84. It's only 4 years younger or 4 years older than the WBO. So.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys remember when Ricky Haddon used to have WBU, right?
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
before he beat Zoo and was like a title holder of 140. No one recognized that. And it's only been the past few years where I've looked at the WBO higher than I looked at the WBU. I'm just being real. This is a very new thing. It's like it literally just happened in the past few years.
To be undisputed, Lennox never won the WBO title. He was undisputed off the WBA, WBC, and IBF.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put too much credibility into Shakur's quote-unquote title win. Having said that, I was not impressed by the fight at all. As you said, it shouldn't have been a title fight. You could dispute whether it even was really a title fight. And, he didn't really do anything, man. If you're on the path to greatness, you got to be putting guys like that away. Do you remember a guy named Francisco Bajado?
Yeah, Panchito. Yeah, Panchito Bajado.
More than a while ago. Yeah. He used to fight on Showtime.
Yep.
He would have just, if he had that kind of a level of competition in front of him, he would have just obliterated it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you expect. You see a guy coming up the ranks against an opponent like this. I honestly, I agree with Beeb. Warrington can beat Shakur for sure.
I think it's a good fight.
He can beat him for sure. And the main difference between Warrington and his opponent yesterday was that Warrington can cut the ring off better, and when he gets Shakur against the ropes, he's gonna let his hands go, and he won't let him get out so easily.
He's too strong.
So I'd like to see how Shakur deals with that.
Yeah, he's too strong for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, guys, that's really all I wanted to chime in on. But I appreciate the show.
Hey, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for calling, man.
Hey,
we appreciate it.
Don't be a stranger, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. Good call.
Good call. Good call. And you know
call.
what? It's an interesting thing. Like I said, with the IBF, we can point to Larry Holmes as really making that happen for them.
No, you're 100% correct, Eric. You know who made
But for the WBO, who do we point to?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Sugar Ray Leonard was the first super middleweight champion for the WBO.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Chris Eubank was the one that kind of put the WBO on the map a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because Frank Warren really was the first promoter to really have that good relationship with the WBO. And there's a lot of UK fighters that had WBO belts that were held in high regard. You had Chris Eubank, you had Joe Calzaghe, you had
Naz.
Yeah,
Naz had it.
You had Naz. So
I think he might have been one of the biggest as far as flash. You know what I mean? As far as putting it on the map. I think he might have. I think you might be able to credit him.
I kind of think it was Eubank though that kind of.
Yeah.
Nigel Benn had it.
Yeah, Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank. Yeah.
Nigel Benn had the middleweight one. He beat Doug DeWitt for the middleweight one. Yeah, so a lot of UK fighters had those belts.
Yeah, it started big, I think, over there. Then, over European, because when we talk about it and we talk about the history of it, that's kind of what we name as European fighters or UK fighters.
Most UK fighters have had that belt, and
yeah,
a lot of Puerto Rican fighters had that belt.
What is it? Is it the IBO? IBO title?
The IBO
that. They do their rankings. They're the only ones who do computer rankings. It's not done by humans. It's done by computers.
Yes.
And to me, that's a legit way to do it.
Yeah, but their rankings suck too. Look at their fucking rankings. They
can't be as bad as the WBO's rankings.
No, the WBO's rankings are the worst.
Right?
I checked the WBO. I'm ranked number 15 by the WBO at cruiserweight right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like 27th. I don't know. I got to get going here. But I do have a WBA regular belt, so that's good. That's good.
Do you remember one of the sanctioning bodies ranked the dead guy before?
Yeah, I do. I remember that.
Remember that? The guy was dead and they ranked him. How fucked up is that?
They ranked the dead guy, dude. Like Weekend at Bernie's or something. Silliness. All right, let's go to the upcoming fights here. Let's see here. Let me find it. November 1st from Las Vegas on Showtime. This has got to be a ShowBox card. Javier Martinez versus Jesse Chris Rosales, 10 rounds junior lightweights. Richard Hitchens versus Kevin Johnson, 10 rounds welterweights. I think I'll pass. Oh, no. November 2nd from Carson, California on ESPN. Miguel Burchelt versus Jason Sosa, 12 rounds for Burchelt's WBC junior lightweight title. And Jerwin Anacajas versus Jonathan Rodriguez, 12 rounds for Anacajas' IBF junior bantamweight title. Again, Jerwin Anacajas is one of my favorite fighters. He is always must-see TV for me. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. He's a good fighter, man. He's always exciting, really exciting fighter. Your boy is also on the undercard, Beeb. Alex Saucedo versus your boy Rod Salka, 8 rounds, junior welterweights. There you go. That's not a bad card. That's really not a bad card. Those two fights are pretty good. November 2nd, the big one on DAZN from Las Vegas, Sergey Kovalev versus Canelo Alvarez. 12 rounds for Kovalev's WBO light heavyweight title. Ryan Garcia on the undercard versus Romero Duno. 12 rounds lightweights. And we'll come back to this card here in a little bit. From Manchester, England on November 2nd on DAZN. Christina Leonardo, I don't know. Listen, somebody with an L. Anyway, she's fighting Katie Taylor. You'll never hear from her again. 10 rounds for Leonardo Tao's WBO women's junior welterweight title. On the undercard, Anthony $1 Million Crawler versus Frank Uriaga. 10 rounds lightweights. Joshua Buatsi versus Blake Caparello, light heavyweights. I think, Gamal Yafai is on that undercard too against the dreaded TBA. So not a bad card. Not too bad. I don't know. Might check it out. November 2nd from Oxon Hill, Maryland on Fox Sports 1. Brian Castano versus Wale Omatoso, 10 rounds, junior middleweights. Javier Fortuna versus Jesus Cuellar, junior lightweights, 10 rounds. And the two Gary Russells, Gary Antoine Russell and Gary Antonio Russell on the undercard. Antoine Russell against Juan Huertas, 10 rounds, junior welterweights. And Antonio Russell against Samuel Gutierrez, 10 rounds, bantamweights. Those guys are moving up, and they're pretty good fighters, by the way.
Yes, sir.
If you haven't caught them. And that'll be it for this weekend. But, let's talk about this, man. The big one on November 2nd on DAZN. Sergey Kovalev versus Canelo Alvarez, 12 rounds for the WBO, ironically enough, light heavyweight title. Listen, man, a lot of you guys in the chat have been saying that Sergey has a chance here. Sergey is going to win. We're discounting. I'm discounting Kovalev and his ability and his punching power.
You're selling him short.
I'm selling him short. A lot of people said that. Let me tell you something. There is no way Sergey Kovalev wins this fight.
You're selling him short. You're selling him short.
When I say no way, I mean unless Canelo trips and breaks an ankle on his way to the ring.
I can't wait till D-Style comes on.
Unless he gets sniped from the rafters on the way to the ring, he's coming out champion. He's winning that fight. Sergey Kovalev, I'm going to tell you why. Sergey Kovalev can't take it to the body. He cannot take it to the body. He can't defend against the body attack. He's going to wear out. He doesn't train like he used to. This isn't the same guy that you guys are used to a few years ago pre-Ward. Ward ruined this guy. He ruined him, son. You sound like the Joker with the laugh. He ruined him. I want to say that over and over now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. It's all over but the crying, my man. It's all over. Anybody who disagrees with me, I will put a pie bet on. Georgie and I have already got a pie bet going. Poor Georgie is going to take another pie in the face this time. There's no way. And I think as far as obviously Canelo wins, I think Canelo stops him late. I really do. I don't think this fight is competitive at all. Beeb.
All I got to do is tell people to watch that 8th round of the Anthony Yarde fight. And that says it all. That one body punch.
When Yarde went to the body, it turned that fight.
A very green Anthony Yarde, who's much slower and much less skilled than Canelo, went to the body, and he almost stopped him in the 8th round. What does that tell you?
What do you think Canelo's going to do to him? when he hits him in the body.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you? And
It's
then,
a no-brainer, guys.
And then Kovale's hugging and kissing Canelo and
What is that?
snuggling
What
up.
was that?
Snuggling up
Did
to
you
him.
see that? I sent you that earlier. He's
Yeah.
over there taking selfies like he's his broad or something like that. He's over there taking selfies like he's a groupie, son.
Thank you so much,
What's the
Canelo,
matter
for
with
giving
you?
me this $10 million payday.
Dude, what are you doing?
This fight's all about the money for Kovalev. Man.
Cash out.
It's a cash out.
Cash out.
It's a cash
Buy
out.
a ton of vodka with it, son, because that's it. You're out the limelight after this fight.
This is a cash out fight, guys.
He's done, son. Over there, put his arm around Canelo. Oh, take a picture with me, Canelo. What is up with that?
Yeah.
It's groupie. Straight up groupie.
Thought I was going to give him the tongue.
He probably did. He's not De La Hoya. I don't know. But, yeah, man. I mean, he was over there grouping up with him. Take a picture, putting his arm around him. What's up with that, man? I don't get it. I don't get it, man. This wasn't for me, tell you that. Kovalev's not the same fighter, man. He's not.
He's done.
He's done. He's getting murked in there. My pick, Canelo Alvarez by murder.
You can't say that. That's a little bit too...
I just did.
That's
I just went there. I just went there. That's how I'm living.
Lois is getting ready to pull out the human resources papers, man. Can't use those offensive words, man.
The offensive words.
PC culture we live in right now. You can't say that. No, I think Canelo wins by 9th round stoppage.
It is. It is. This is an easy fight for Canelo. I don't think anybody realizes how easy it is. Listen, he was chosen for a reason. You know, there's a reason he ain't fighting Better Beef. There's a reason he ain't fighting Bivol. There's a reason he's fighting Kovalev.
They're not stupid.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, let's go to Georgie here.
Hey, yo! What's happening, people?
Georgie.
Lacking. Yo, time is limited.
Are you ready to take that pie in the face?
I can.
You ready to take that pie in the face, son?
That's irrelevant.
The
question here is B willing to take that pie in the face? Because I'm challenging B for the title too. I want to go out this year with my strap on me.
I'm gonna put the title on the line. I'm putting the title on the line next week. I'm putting the title on the line next week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how being sound docking, no docking.
I'm putting the title on the line. Yeah.
Either way, I'm gonna make history. Either I get fight twice
Truth
in
serum.
the same day,
Truth
or I
serum.
get the title twice in the same year. So I can't lose. That's beautiful. But let me get to the Prograis fight, though. See, I'm the only one who noticed that Prograis didn't have no pop whatsoever. That his power disappeared. It's like this man was there dusting furniture with a duster. I just didn't get it. It was a point that I'm thinking this man got paid off. What's this man power? Because I know you're trying to throw bullshit punches to come up with the hard shit. But the hard shit never show up, never materialized. What the fuck happened with this man power? Any explanation? That's why he lost the fight. Yo.
Hey, Georgie, I want a lemon meringue pie.
Yeah.
Lemon meringue pie bouncing off your face on Sunday. And you're going to do it
That
live.
sounds great,
You know what?
brother. That sounds beautiful.
You're going to do
Whatever
it
you want,
live.
ask me
You're going to do
the
it
question
live
about
on
Prograis.
Sunday.
I want to know what you guys think about that.
You're going to do it live
Listen.
in front of the world.
Yes, sir. Yes. World is fucking Barnes. No questions about it. But let's get to the Progress shit. Where was this man Power? What happened with this man Power? Because
He's fighting a good fighter. Listen, all you guys, I love how all you guys come out and say, you know, like Errol Spence. Everybody's questioning Errol Spence's power. Everybody, listen, they're fighting upper echelon guys. They're fighting the best in the world. You're not going to knock out everybody. You're fighting good guys.
I know, but I'm not saying that he should have knocked him out or even put him down. But the punch itself, every punch that Progress threw, didn't have no power. You guys didn't notice that?
No,
Because I see everybody talking about the fight and all this bullshit, but the reason why he didn't win the fight is because he didn't land the hard shit. Every time he threw something, it didn't like seem hard, didn't look with no steam on it. And Taylor, at least once in a while, out of the 2-3 combo, one of the punches was real hard.
Well,
see.
There's a couple reasons for that. There's a couple reasons that Prograis had steam taken off of his punches. And number one, the biggest reason was, he was getting hit. And he was getting hit hard. That takes a lot out of you. He was getting a lot of body shots. That takes a lot out of you. The other part was they were fighting in a closet. They were fighting. Did you see how close in they were fighting? You're not going to get knockout shots from that.
Josh Taylor looked hurt a few times. He was holding on a few times.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor got buzzed a couple of times, and Prograis got buzzed a couple of times.
Too, right? Like Taylor look a little bigger. Yo, that's another thing, bro. Like what happened with Progress, in a way can happen to Canelo that night. Because Progress even being in the same weight division as this guy, as Taylor seems a lot bigger than dude. Progress on 147 won't do shit. He will be fucking fool for everybody on 147.
Yeah, D-Style just brought up a good point. Did you see
Canelo
Taylor's face?
In these two divisions, baby. Listen, if weight matters, if weight division matter, yo, Kovac should have the open hand. And it could be like fucking Ignacio says that he could get robbed. Because we know you ain't beating Canelo in the fucking scorecards. So Kovac got to really beat him the fuck down.
It ain't going to matter.
You know?
It ain't going to matter.
Anyway, that's my call. I know they got more people on the line. I want to tell everybody to support the channel. Shout out to boxing around the world. Everybody, I'm outie.
All right, Georgie, good call. Good call. You're still going to take a pie in the dome next week. All right. Beeb, where are the best calls from?
It's got to be Ohio, man.
Got to be, right? It's got to be. Got to be Ohio. OH. You're live.
Yo, what's up, guys?
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. What the weekend was, a couple of my Ohio guys, that's funny. A couple of my Ohio guys fought, man. I see Darrell Anderson, the heavyweight, debuted on Top Rank. We bought him pretty much behind, if y'all didn't know. He got a TKO, and Alvaro looked great. He boxed the guys here off, so definitely want to see him step up. He remained undefeated. Another guy that y'all probably don't even know about, Daquan May, was Floyd Mayweather's sparring partner. He's hanging around Floyd a lot. Floyd traveled with Floyd to Japan, and Floyd took him under his wings, and he lost Friday. He lost his first fight. He was 3-0. He got knocked out. He got stopped in there.
Oh, wow.
Third round, they stopped it.
Wow.
Yeah, they stopped it. And there was a guy like him, I'm real concerned about him trying to come bounce back because, Floyd talked about that 50-0 and him being around Floyd, he might take that loss a little hard.
Yeah.
Harder than most. I hope he can bounce back from it. But, that was definitely a tough one. None of his family posted, left anything or talked about the fight. I missed it Friday. So when I woke up and went to Facebook and didn't see nothing about the fight, I said, oh, this is not good. That's the first thing I said. I said, this is definitely not good. Nobody in the family said anything. But I hope he's on back from it. I actually got a chance to watch the fight. And, yeah, he got hurt, man. He got hurt in the first round. And he was clinching so much trying to recover
that the referee ended up taking points and taking points from him in the second round because he was just hoping so much, so he was trying to recover. But anyway, moving on with the Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis. I think Beeb seen it. I actually picked Josh Taylor before the fight. I've been liking Josh Taylor for a while now, man.
You like Josh Taylor, yeah?
I've been liking Josh Taylor for a while, man. I think he was definitely bigger than Regis Prograis. It was a close fight. I actually started hearing people saying robbery, and I was like, wow. You know what I mean? I've seen one scorecard that said 117, 112, and I heard people going crazy. And I'm like, how can you go crazy about a card when the guy gave one of the fighters 2 of the swing rounds? I mean, that's all he really did was give swing rounds, man. Like, he could have gave those same rounds that he gave to Josh Taylor, to Regis Prograis probably. I mean, you know, I scored it 116, 113 for Josh Taylor. So I don't really think it's really a big controversy because sometimes these judges, and a lot of people don't understand, they give swing rounds to one person, they'll probably give the next swing round to the next person just because they gave that one the first one. It's almost like NFL when a referee gives you a bad call.
Yeah.
And you know he gave you a bad call. Guess what? The next call gonna be he's sure he pays you back with the next call.
Yeah.
We all have seen this before. Like, okay, he owed him that one. He owed him that one.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't get mad at some of these judges because they're giving swing rounds to one person consistently. So when I actually debate people, I was bullshit. Well, give me some rounds that you just know Regis wants consistently. You really can't. You really can't. If he wants some rounds, but for you to sit there and say, well, it's bullshit. No, the judge just didn't give them round for round. That's all he didn't do.
Yeah.
He didn't give Josh that one. He gave Josh 2. And he didn't give Prograis those swing rounds. So I can't debate those rounds. I can't sit there and say that card was BS. But I scored at 115, 113. But that was a good fight. It was a good fight. We started to get a lot of fight of the years. I thought nobody was going to match Sean Porter and Earl Spence, but we getting a couple of them, man. The Triple G, Devchenko. I mean, we get some good ones at the end of the year to see which one is going to be the best. So that was really, really good fight. The WBO, who called in and asked about the WBO? That was a really, really good question, man.
Yeah, it was Emil from New York. Yeah.
Emil, that was a great question because I actually, it's really good that he said that, brought that to light because once they start doing that, they can do that with a lot of these belts. I mean, you already got the franchise belt now, the immortal franchise title where you get rewarded for dusting somebody. And can you imagine how easy that's going to be now when people like, hey, just give me the franchise. And I'm going to say this now. Riddick Bowe would have took the franchise tag years ago. If he could have did it, he probably would have took that franchise over Lennox Lewis and wouldn't have threw the WBA belt if they had that type of tag. Because he was like, hey, he wouldn't have threw it away. So he's probably mad as hell. He probably don't like Canelo or Lomachenko. But it's just funny how they start something and they know that majority of the media, the big media, is going to push for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, Lomachenko gets promoted like he is the welterweight, like he is the undisputed champion without any belt. They can do it. We've been seeing it. You know what I mean? I still like Lomachenko, but I lost a little respect to him and his team accepting that, And that's the same thing with Devin Haney. I like Devin Haney, but I can't call him a champion. He got a belt handed to him. That's just me. I stay consistent in that. That's to beat somebody. They said, well, you got to call him the champion. No, I don't. I don't have to call him the champion. Eventually, they're going to push it. I mean, I think he should be a world champion, but I'm not about to call nobody champion because they got a belt handed to them. There's too many fighters that fight. Blood, sweat, and tears, to work hard to try to get in those positions, to fight for a title, and then you see the organization passing titles like they're candy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a disrespect to those fighters. That's just how I look at it.
All right, man.
At it that way, but
good deal.
But I didn't want to say too much, man. That's it. Yeah, I'll holler at y'all guys.
All right, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Later, man.
Great call as always, man. Told you the best callers from Ohio. All right, guys, listen, we got about 15 minutes left. We got a couple callers on the line. We haven't even done the news yet. How about that? Hey, listen, Beeb, the other fight that we didn't talk about yet was, what about Tyson Fury and Braun Strowman? They're going to fight this week. The WWE, who do you like in that fight?
Tyson Fury.
I like Tyson Fury, too. I think he beats him. I think he finds a way to win.
You know, there's only one Tyson Fury.
That's it. There's not two. There's only one. All right. Real quick, we're going to go through our train wreck of the week here, news and rumors. De La Hoya, your boy Beeb, sued for sexual assault. According to the Associated Press, the lawsuit filed Monday in Los Angeles County Superior Court alleges that an unnamed woman had consensual sexual relationship with De La Hoya until he assaulted her at his home in Pasadena in November of 2017. The lawsuit goes into graphic detail in its allegations against De La Hoya, claiming the former boxing champion was intoxicated at the time he overpowered a woman. The lawsuit doesn't specify whether she filed a complaint with the police after the alleged attack, which left her requiring medication for extreme swelling and pain. De La Hoya allegedly violated her sexually with his fist. What is it with this guy, Beeb? What is seriously, like, he needs to be like removed. If Golden Boy, he needs to be removed from there. I mean, he really needs to be taken out of that whole thing, man. It is awful. Awful. And this isn't like a one-time thing. If this is a one-time thing, you're like, all right, she's probably lying or something like that. Yeah, whatever. You can say whatever you want. This has happened multiple times.
I believe it.
I completely believe it.
I believe it. This guy's a freaky motherfucker, man.
He's sexual deviant. That's right. My wife just looked at me like, what? What are you guys talking about? De La Hoya's son, that's what we're talking about.
Sorry, Lise.
Yeah, it is what it is, Lise. Sorry.
Sorry, it was a mistake.
It is.
I wish we didn't have to report it, but it's news.
Everybody's in there in the chat just going crazy now. Lomachenko, now a franchise champion. Vasyl Lomachenko is now the WBC franchise champion. And what that really means is anybody's guess. He's been stripped of the WBC title and elevated to the franchise champ. Devin Haney is now the new WBC champion by default. Franchise champion basically means he can fight whoever he wants without losing the belt. And I'm not 100% sure that the franchise belt can even be lost. I know if you beat Lomachenko, you don't win the franchise belt, so I guess he just keeps it forever. And, you know, what if he does decide to fight Devin Haney? Then what? Does he get the WBC belt again? So he's got the WBC franchise and then the WBC. It's the dumbest concept ever. It really is. It really is a dumb concept. All right. Quickly, 7:06. You're live. Jason.
Where's my intro, bro? Come on.
Hurry up.
My intro?
Come on. You're killing time, son.
Color of the year?
You're killing time.
The franchise belt, isn't the WBA super belt a little bit less confusing than the franchise? Because did you guys watch that interview with Ness? Ness went off on Mauricio with the fucking convention in Cancun. Like, Mauricio looked confused himself. He couldn't even explain to Ness what the fuck it meant. Did you guys watch that?
I know. They cornered him at that press conference, and he got mad and walked out.
Yeah, but what's funny is that Ness guy is the only one asking these questions. All those fucking hacks like Montero, Kim, Dougie, they don't ask him that question. They're like happy to go to the convention and stuff their fucking faces. Even that Oscar news, dude. Did you notice that?
It's a free meal. What do you expect?
Even reported it, like Hugmeyer.
It's a free meal.
Hugmeyer, Kim, Dougie, like all these fucking Ring magazine faggots. None of them reported it. It's fucked up. If Floyd or Tank were accused of this, every fucking writer in boxing would be retweeting the details, being, "Oh my God, this is bad for boxing." When it's like the Golden Boy, everybody shuts up and keeps.
I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
You
know why? Because Golden Boys got better PR. They got better PR.
No,
they got better PR, son.
They hire them. Dougie's check is written by Golden Boy Inc. He works for Ring, so he's a fucking hack. So he's gonna keep his mouth shut. You know, he has no integrity. Anyway, but Josh Taylor, man, Regis. I thought Regis could have won if he had a better game plan. Like he fought like.
He just dropped.
He just dropped.
Wow. Get off the track phone, son.
He fucking blew his call.
He did. He wasted time in a ridiculous way.
Is D-Style still on?
No, D-Style dropped too.
Oh, Jesus.
I was hoping D-Style would be on there. We'll have to do a show in the middle of the week. Get D-Style on. He's always got good takes there. He's taking Kovalev. You know what we'll do? We'll do the Friday show. Let's do a weigh-in show on Friday for Kovalev. And we'll do a weigh-in show. We'll bring D-Style on. You want to do that?
Yeah, I'll text him.
And that way he can do he can be part of like the panel or whatever. Yeah, Jason said his cell died. So that way he can like be part of the panel and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I think that'll be good because I want to hear like what he thinks that Kovalev is going to bring. You know what I mean? To beat Canelo. Listen, man. I don't see it. But just because I don't see it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Beeb, let me ask you though, what do you make of the franchise belt with the whole Lomachenko situation?
I'm going to be honest.
Just the franchise belt in general. I mean, because it's not just Lomachenko has one.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's real confusing.
Yeah, 100%.
It's real confusing. I just don't understand it, to be perfectly honest with you. To me, it just doesn't make sense. I can't even really talk about it because I don't understand it. So
it makes zero sense.
A guy gets a title and doesn't have to defend it. I mean, I just
that's what it is.
I don't know. It's like, okay, I don't get it. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna buy a dinner, but I'm not gonna eat it. I'm just gonna leave it on the table all night. Like what does that mean?
I don't know. I don't get it. It's one of those things that it's like, I don't get it, man. I really don't. They have this belt that the guy can't lose, and they strip him. They essentially strip him of his WBC belt, their title. They strip him and then give it to somebody else. You don't even fight for it. They just give it to you. They just give it to somebody else. Help me out with that. I don't understand. So they strip you of the title. They give you this, this other title. You got to pay. I mean, are you paying franchise fees on that title?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how it works, man.
I don't either. It makes zero sense. And even the, if you say, okay, it's flawed, but this is the ideology behind it, there is no ideology.
No.
What, it frees him up to fight other champions?
No.
Yeah, so what?
Doesn't make sense.
When was the last time Floyd made a mandatory when he had the belts all those years? How many mandatories did he really have? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, man. I think Georgie said it best, the despicable act of corruption.
Yeah.
Yep. He's right. Yeah, and well, this is a good, and same for Lomachenko. I think he never made a single defense. Did he ever make a defense in that WBC championship?
No.
Yeah, but somehow he's just the franchise.
He never defended the title.
And now he's just a franchise? Come on, man. Earthquake hit it on the head. Ideology is more champs, more money. Cold hard truth. Yeah, right. Beeb, this is a very close second for the train wreck of the week. Bernard Hopkins put out a video this week calling out Roy Jones for a third fight.
No.
The worst part is that Roy Jones took the bait and said, yes, let's do it. I can't even begin to tell you what a bad idea this is. This is just a awful idea.
Are you serious?
Yes.
What's the fight going to be at?
Who knows? I mean, it's all in the beginning stages. I mean, he just put out a video last week saying that he wanted to do it again. He wants to he wants to fight Roy Jones again. Roy Jones says, yeah, I'll do it anytime, anywhere. I mean, listen, man, boxing's going pretty well. We're not exactly starved for action here. With the exception of Nigel Benn coming back, listen, which is a fight I don't want to see. This kind of, to me, it's kind of the same thing. These guys have had their day. They've had their day. But I don't know, man. This is not one that I'm looking forward to if it happens. And who picks this up? I mean, I imagine somebody will pick it up, but I don't know, man. Not good. Not good.
You know what? I wanted to just bring up one thing real quick because we talked about weight last week. I'm going to do this real quickly.
Yeah.
Erickson Lubin weighed 169, and Nathan Gallimore weighed 171 the night of the fight. So think about it. These guys were essentially light heavyweights when they fought last night. Mm-hmm. So you mean to tell me that these guys naturally got down to 154? They weren't taking any diuretics to do that? Like, so if one guy's weighing 169, another guy's 171 the night of the fight, I'm suspecting that both guys are walking around at about 175. So these guys are losing like 20, 25 pounds to make weight. It's crazy.
It is. It's nuts, man. I mean, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight to drop.
154, so.
And I get that they're only at like 154 for a couple of minutes. I mean, realistically, they're only there for a couple of minutes because as soon as they step on the scale, they'll never weigh 154 again for that fight. That's a lot of weight, Beeb. Not good.
So is that healthy? Is that healthy on your heart? Is that healthy on your system? You're losing a lot of vital nutrients, and you're depleting your bone density and all that stuff. So I just wanted, when I saw that last night, I said I'm going to bring this up on the show. Those guys walked into the ring last night at light heavyweight, and so they were basically fighting 3 divisions over their weight class. That's ridiculous.
You're not even seeing that fight. It's a different fight at that point.
That's not even. It's ridiculous. No one's gonna tell me that that's healthy.
No.
No one.
No. But the reverse. If you're at your same weight, if that's your natural weight, and you're a natural 140 pounder, you walk around at 140, and you don't cut weight, you're gonna get steamrolled by these guys. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're fighting essentially a 170 pounder.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Got to be something done. I don't know what that is, but it's got to be something.
It's just bullshit.
Yeah. Ryan Burnett retired this week, citing injuries as the reason. Burnett was a unified bantamweight champion. It's kind of sad to see that, man.
Yeah.
Kind of sad to see that. Anthony Ogogo, you remember him? He was a bronze medalist.
Mm-hmm.
Retired. Again, citing injuries. Signed a contract with AEW Wrestling. He's going to look to become a pro wrestler.
Good for him.
Yeah. Why not? A lot of people, a lot of boxers. You notice a lot of transition there. MMA, boxing, going to wrestling. There's a lot of money to be made, I guess, man. Especially if you're like a household name or something like that. A lot of money to be made. What are you, popping pills over there? What's the matter with you? What are you, Canelo? What's the matter with you?
Taking my nighttime vitamins.
Your nighttime vitamins.
Nighttime vitamins to maintain the muscle mass.
To maintain the muscle, the androstenedione.
I've passed every test they put in front of me.
Yeah. It's a tainted meat, son. Oh my goodness. All right, and on that note, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. And I'm at ringside73 on Twitter, and we will see you next week. We'll actually see you Friday, I think. We'll do a weigh-in show. We'll do a weigh-in show. We got to do a weigh-in show.
Big fight.
Big fight. We have to, right? What else are we going to do? All right, guys, take care. We'll see you soon.